Most people absolutely love physical games, especially fans of Nintendo. The idea of having a dope collection of some of your favorite games is one of the best feelings that you can have as a gamer. However, there is something that Nintendo chose to do with the Switch 2 that, like a lot of their decisions, doesn't make any sense at all. The only options right now that developers have access to in terms of storing their games on cartridges are a 64GB card or a game key card. And the 64GB card, for one, is way too much for a game that's, say, only 4 gigs. Why would you need something that big? But on top of that, it also costs $16. This can cut drastically into a company's profit margins, and if they don't get as many sales as they were anticipating, can actually make them lose money, which is why almost everybody is going with the game key card. Aside from games like Cyberpunk, which, wouldn't you guess it, sold the best out of the third-party lineup, the game key cards cost no more than $1 to produce, and the devs can actually get their games on store shelves. In games like Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, it is a 4 gig game. It also costs $40. So a game key card is what they went with, and a huge amount of games on Switch 2 have that problem. Now, part of the problem here is that people are boycotting the existence of these game key cards, and thus people are choosing not to buy them at all. This is affecting the game devs because they're losing money on unsold games, and us, since we can't play their games, period, without having a fake collection. And I personally hate the idea of not having the physical game in my hand. It's just a string of numbers that doesn't really do anything other than triggers a download, and that's not very fun. I will say there is a factor of we just need to suck it up and buy the game key cards. But I also get where people are coming from, and I don't want to buy a game key card either. So it all really comes back to Nintendo. Why do we have this problem in the first place? Because Nintendo decided to do a 64GB cart, and that's it. I don't really get this, as Nintendo did all sorts of different sizes for Switch 1, from say 5 to 64. I could see the factor of pricing playing a role. If the prices on all the cartridges are essentially the same, then I don't know what the issue there is, other than tech just not being up to speed. They set everybody up for basically failure from the start. We can't actually enjoy physical games, developers lose money, and Nintendo loses out on building lasting relationships with companies that could increase sales for them. It's a lose-lose-lose situation for everybody. Developers are, at this moment, scrambling in their offices trying to figure out what to do because people are boycotting their games and they're losing money. They're angry at Nintendo, and I would be too. I'm not angry right now, but say they release Final Fantasy VII as a game key card, all of a sudden it's affecting me, and I'm gonna be mad. It's as simple as that. And thus, Nintendo kind of has a Wii U situation again. It's simply masked by huge sales on the first-party side of things. I'm predicting that Nintendo will have less third-party support for the start of the next generation, unless they can turn this around. That's simply how it's going to work. These game companies are suffering because Nintendo is locking them behind 64GB carts. Their sales are the lowest of the lows, far lower than even the minimum of what their predicted sales would be, causing them to lose tons of money. Nintendo has to take action quickly, or they risk becoming buried in a pile of game key cards that no one wants to buy. The game companies are suffering, and that just sucks. They're losing money because Nintendo made a choice that sucks for everybody. And thus, Nintendo needs to make a decision. I say release more sizes of carts. Sure, they might be mad expensive right now, but at least then you'll have people actually buying games, and the prices will eventually go down as tech gets more advanced, rather than making us suffer the entire console generation. There's also another option for the games that are larger: raise the price by $10. Yakuza 0 is $50 and it's a game key cart. Instead, raise the price to $60 and just do a physical release. I bet 70% more people would actually buy the physical copy. Sure, not everyone would, but at least then you wouldn't have boycotting. Also, I know that there's indies out there that did this for Switch 1. Stardew comes to mind immediately, as it raised the price of its physical on Switch 1 to $35, and no one batted an eye. It's a $15 game. But what do you all think of this situation? What do you think Nintendo should do? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and if you want to hear about how Mario Kart World can be fixed, because Nintendo absolutely messed that up, you can click on this video right here. I'm Dastardly John. Hope you keep on being dastardly.